Hi, this is Alison from Frutejuice, and today I'm going to be making a cutlery holder. This means you can put your cutlery inside, fold it over. I'll make a tie for when you roll it up. So I've cut these pieces out already. I've got the pocket piece, which has got a backing to it, make it a bit more stable. So cut the same size. It's got the front piece and the back piece. So this will end up being a pattern in my Etsy shop, although as you can see it's kind of like quite straightforward. You can just measure your cutlery and work out the size that you're going to need. I've also made some bias binding to go around the edge and to go across the front of this pocket. So I'll just go to the sewing machine now and show you how we put it together. So first of all, I've got the pocket piece, and what I'm going to do is attach this binding to the pocket piece. So I'm going to start attaching it on the flip side. So I'm just going to line it up along the edge. And then stitch it in place. And then what I'm going to do is, leaving that in position, I'm just going to flip it upwards, turn it over and sew it down on the front. Okay, so if you do it like this, you can just cover up the stitching from the other side. Okay, and then stitch that in place. And there you've got your pocket front, and you can just trim these pieces off so that they're level. Now we have our front and back pieces put together, and we get our pocket where we've sewn a piece across, and we line it up along here. If you want to, you can use a couple of clips just to hold it in position. Like this. Or you could put a few pins in wherever you like. And what we're going to do now is we're going to sew in lines up here for where the cutlery is going to slide into each position. So now I'm just going to kind of like guess where I'm going to do my lines, but I'm going to do them about 1.5 inches between each one. And I'm just going to sew from the top straight down to the bottom. So what I've done, I've got knife, fork, spoon and straw. Instead of cutting this off, I'm going to leave that, and then that can be for a napkin to be tucked in that side. Now we're ready for binding. So what I've done I've cut the end of my binding at a slant. I've pressed that over and then pressed it in half. And I've made this 2-inch binding, so it's 1 inch once you fold it in half. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start down here so that we haven't got all this fussy bit involved with this thicker part. So I'm just going to start by lining this up and then sewing it on. Get that out of the way as well. So I just sew all the way around this part. And I sew to within about 1/4 inch of this edge. About there. I put my needle up, I pull the work out, without bending my needle too much if I can, and then I draw this to a 90-degree angle there, and then I fold it back on itself so that it then lies level with the bottom. Give it a turn back under the foot, and then carry on sewing. So stop, needle up, pull out your work. We do a 90-degree angle here and then fold it back on itself so that it's level with this edge and level with this edge. And then back under the needle and away we go again. Right, so what I'm going to do is, if you can see there, I'm just going to cut this off around about there. Okay, so you should be seeing this is where we started off, and this is going to need to finish off here. So what I do is these threads here, I just undo these so that we've got a little bit of a flap here. So that we can tuck this piece inside. And I make sure that these edges are lined up, and I let that stray a little bit if it wants to, that's fine. And then I sew down that edge. Until the stitches connect back up. And there's our little join. And now any of these little extra bits you can just trim off. We don't need any of those getting in the way. So we can just trim those. So what we're going to do now is fold this over in the same way as you did for this. So I'm going to fold it over and I'm going to sew it so that this is just covering that stitching. I'm just going to start from down here. And when we come to the corner, we need to fold it down and then fold this up. Or you can do it the other way if you want to. You can fold this up so that it just covers the stitching, and then fold this across. Turn your work and then carry on along this edge. So there it is, bound, and we've got our pockets. Now all we need to do is add a tie. So when you put your cutlery in, you fold this over, you can roll it up, and you can either stick a popper on there or you can put a tie on. And I actually prefer a tie myself. Okay, so what I've done now is I've made this thin strap, which I'm going to now attach here, so that when you roll it up you can tie it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the top over. I'm going to loosely roll it as if there was some cutlery in there, and then I'm going to basically wrap it around as if it was actually attached and find a line where I've already sewn. So I think I'll choose this one. So what I'm going to do is unfold it all and then use that line to sew it onto. Move it up just a little so that it's around about halfway between these 2 points, not including the end that you fold down. I'm just going to attach it there. Make sure I line the stitching up. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just trim all of the extra threads off, because there's going to be quite a few of them. So we just go around, trim off any extra threads that we find. Oh. And then you'll see that once we roll it up, we can tie it off. Now we have our cutlery roll, and it'll sit much nicer once you've actually got cutlery in it. But there we go.